Alrighty, we are live. So, Aiden, I'm happy you could stop by and join us for the night. We have about an hour of off-season discussion. We were just planning to open with Yoshinobu Yamamoto and talk about that, but as some people in the chat have mentioned, and we also saw this on Twitter before we joined. But the Mets signed Luis Severino. Not that this affects the Yankees in any way. I don't think the Yankees were interested in bringing Luis Severino back. I believe there was a report in The Athletic that teams were interested in Severino, and the Yankees were not one of those teams, making offers or discussing with him. And ultimately, he had some really good years with the Yankees. There's no doubt about that. He had some. I mean, his highs were really high, but the lows this past season were extremely low, and unfortunately, that's what happens when you have like year like this. And if you're the Yankees, you can't just run it back. You can't just reload with the same guys and try to go out and win the World Series like that. I think it's a good deal for the Mets. I know $13 million seems like a lot, but I think a saying that it is pretty true is you can't really overpay on a 1-year deal. And the Mets are kind of in a transition year. So I hope the best for him. But Aiden, you have any thoughts on the whole Severino thing and how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing all right. We're at that point in the fall where it's starting to feel like winter. I just told you I walked back to my apartment from campus and it was the worst 5 blocks I've ever walked in my life. It was so cold. But yeah, I saw the Severino news as I was on that walk back. And it just seemed like a really obvious move. Like as soon as I saw, I want to say it was a week or two ago, I saw the report that him and the Mets were meeting. I was like, oh my gosh, like that makes too much sense to not happen. Like the Mets are in need of pitching depth. They take a nice flyer on Severino. It's kind of a low risk, high reward deal. I think $13 million is a little steep of a price for him. Considering his injury history, because this guy hasn't really thrown a full season of innings since 2018. In 2019 we got 12 innings, I think, at the back end of the year. Nothing in 2020, six innings in 2021, and 102 innings in 2022, and only 89 this year. So I mean, it just does it. I didn't think the Yankees were ever going to bring him back. I think by September this year we knew he wasn't coming back. So I mean, it's a really bittersweet feeling to see him go, because he's one of the last remaining baby bombers. Now we only have Judge. It's really sad because we thought that core was really going to do it. But it's bittersweet to see him go, because I wish him the best. I really hope he balls out with the Mets. I'm just mad it's with the Mets because I don't really like the Mets that much, and I think that uniform is going to look so ridiculous on him. I'm sorry. I can only really see him in Yankee pinstripes right now, but yeah, that Mets uniform is going to look a little bit silly on him. But yeah, Ryan, that's what I got. Happy to be on the live chat. What's up? Yeah, so those are my thoughts on Sevi.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, end of the day, it just felt like the Yankees were not interested in bringing Severino back. It felt like if they were going to bring back one of their starters who were hurt last year, it was going to be Frankie Montas, not Severino. But I think there is still something left in the tank. I don't think it's 2017 to 2018 Severino, but all the best of luck to him. In Queens. Damian Serrano says Severino's to the Mets. Wish the both luck. Severy's really going to the New York Mets. More stuff about just Severino and the Mets. Anthony Torres says, "What's up, fellas? What's good, Anthony? I hope you're doing well." And some other. We have LI Yankee King. We have LI Yankee King right now. We are in the presence of a deity on Yankee Twitter. So certainly grateful to have him here. Ryan Jack, my guy, says, "What's up?" Lando, hey Ryan, love the vids. Hey, I appreciate it, my man. And we've got Yamamoto talk. And look, just going to click through all the Yamamotos for now. We're going to talk about Yamamoto first. We're going to go Soto second, just to let more people file in and get more. And then after that, we'll open to questions. Aiden, the Yankees reserved number 18 for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I don't think that's a negotiating tactic. I think that's just more of the Yankees really want Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and they're doing everything they can to entice the guy. Do you think that the Yankees are getting Yoshinobu Yamamoto? How much do you think he'll command from the Yankees? And I guess a final percentage of all right, this is the percent chance or your confidence meter that the Yankees sign Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
I honestly don't know anymore. Like, listen, Yamamoto, of course, we want that. I think the Yankees want both of them too. But to me right now, it really feels like it's kind of one or the other because that's just how things go. Like sometimes you can't get everything you want. And the Yankees, they're trying to focus on both right now, so I'm sure that's a little difficult. But it feels almost too good to be true for that to happen. But if it does, best believe I'm going to be one of the most annoying people on Twitter. Um, but yeah, I really don't know. I think they reserved number 18 for him. I don't know how true that is. I like the idea of it though because I don't know. It kind of seems like a little bit of smoke for me, but I do know that Kuroda and Tanaka were that number too. So it's a number of significance in Japan. I didn't read up on why exactly it is, but it's good to see that the Yankees are, they're kind of giving like, hey, like, come on over here. So uh, it's been rumored that he's intrigued by the Yankees. He likes their iconography, their history. But it sounds like this guy is going to go for a pretty penny. It sounds like pretty much most of the teams in baseball are in on him, and for good reason. This guy is going to be probably a top 10 pitcher next year. He has an amazing pitch mix with disgusting stuff. That curveball and splitter is ridiculous. But I think with how robust his market is, I think we're really going to start seeing an upper $200 million range. I mean, I don't want to say 300. I just don't think that's going to happen. But I feel like it's a remote possibility just with how much teams are in on him. And the Yankees are about to be in the bidding war with the Mets, and we all know Steve Cohen likes to spend money. Who knows how much he's going to be willing to spend right now, given the fact that the last couple of years it didn't really turn out well for him. Maybe he learned his lesson. Like you can't spend every single year. I know David Stearns said in an interview, "We're going to spend on talent, but we have to pick the right moment to spend on talent." And I think that's the right moment for them. But uh, yeah, I think whoever offers him the most money is going to get him. I can see him maybe wanting to take a discount for the Yankees, but I don't know. Right now, it feels kind of like a 50% chance he's gonna sign with the Yankees. I'm remaining cautiously optimistic. I'm not trying to break my heart, but Ryan, what do you think the chances are? Because I know you really like this guy. I know we both want Yamamoto, so what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that, getting Yoshinobu Yamamoto wouldn't be enticing. I mean, you're taking the top free agent pitcher on this market who's only 25 years old. You're pairing him with the current AL Cy Young winner, the unanimous AL Cy Young winner being Garrett Cole. It's hard to sit back and say that wouldn't be one of the top rotations in baseball. And look, there is a lot of risk in the Yankees rotation, but there is a lot of upside as well. Carlos Rodon is 1 year removed from being a Cy Young contender, right? A guy who was considered one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball. Nestor Cortez was the Yankees' best pitcher in 2022, had a 2.44 ERA. Michael King, what he showed down the stretch was excellent. Does Clark Schmidt, if he's the one who stays because I think everybody's thinking of a Juan Soto deal right now. We'll get to that. Does Clark Schmidt have another gear? So, in my eyes, I think the percentage for Yamamoto is like 33%, I'd say, right? Like I'd go 33% Yankees, 33% Mets, 33% Dodgers, right? The Dodgers, I think, would get him if they can't get Ohtani. I think they'd be immediately ascend to the top suitor because they would have the financial, and Yamamoto wants to play for the Dodgers as well. There have been reports that he is a Dodgers fan. So I'm not like of the opinion that the Yankees are, just the only team he has a preference for. So I would consider the Dodgers pretty heavy suitors. And then, of course, the Mets. The Mets have the greatest financial advantage of all, and that's Steve Cohen. Now, there a growing notion that the Yankees and Dodgers are Yamamoto's preferred teams. And that being said, that definitely helps the Yankees here. But, what you're kind of hoping for is a couple of dominoes to fall in this regard. Number one, that, you get Juan Soto because it makes it easier to trade pitching. Number two, you're hoping that the Dodgers land Shohei Ohtani because that would put you in a bidding war against the Mets. And I'm not saying you want to enter a bidding war against the Mets, but what I am saying is that it eliminates the pool of teams, right? So that 33% might go closer to 50%. And I'll take a coin toss on Yoshinobu Yamamoto any day of the week. So, I certainly think there's a good chance the Yankees get Yamamoto. You can't discount the Red Sox. The Giants are certainly heavily involved as well, but it feels like the Giants, just like myself, are always shooting big and never landing what they want. So, I mean, I'm not saying the Giants aren't serious suitors. There is a track record of them swinging and missing often. I do want to kind of see if there are any Yamamoto related questions or any Yamamoto related comments before I advance here. Wilfred says, during the Yomiuri Giants dynasty, when they won 9 Japanese series in a row, the Giants gave the number 18 to their top starter. The number has been passed down as the ace number in Japan ever since. I do think there's a lot of, I wouldn't say like, Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going to take $30 million less to take the number 18. But what I would say is I think that he'll see that and say, yeah, the Yankees, they want me, right? And that matters. I think a little bit, maybe not a lot, but just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. And that's when it comes down to trying to get a guy like this, just a little bit means something. So that's how I feel about that situation. LA King also throws on, it's the ace number. This isn't related to Yamamoto, but I wanted to get this in. Dre mentioned you guys can have Semi back. Don't worry. If you guys don't know Dre, at double play Dre on Twitter. That's my guy. He's a Mets fan. Dre, I think that we'll see. I think that we'll see a better version of Severino 2024. I like Severino. That's still my fucking guy. You know what I mean? So yeah. But
let's not go Frank the Tank on Severino, okay?
Right.
I'm sure Frank the Tank is probably pissed off that they signed him right now, but come on, it's a low risk, high reward deal. Come on. It's all right, Trey.
Yeah, no, look, Dre, don't worry. We got you, man. Hey, look, you're my guy. You know that. I appreciate you coming by, dude. And if you have any more questions, just let us know, my man. That's my dog right there. But moving on here, the big thing, the other part, Mac Miles throwing us in, Soto, baby. Soto is going to the Yankees 100%. Look, there is one player that every Yankee fan, look, there's some, I don't know how this is possible. There are people who are debating whether we should sign Yamamoto or not. There is no person in their right mind that thinks the New York Yankees should not get Juan Soto. LA Yankee King thinks we should get Juan Soto. We think we should get Juan Soto. Everybody wants Juan Soto. My mom does not watch baseball. I bet she wants Juan Soto on the Yankees too. Juan Soto is a Dominican icon, obviously, so I have a little bit of bias here. But unironically, like, the dude is one of the best players in baseball. Left-handed, 25, walks more than he strikes out. Aiden, I mean, come on, right? Like, is there anybody else you want on the market?
Come on. I mean, this is the most obvious move in the hit. Like, I cannot think of a more perfect fit, a more obvious move in the Yankees offseason than trading for Juan Soto. Okay? We all know about how bad the offense was last year. It was anemic. I think this team just underachieved too because, Aaron Judge was hurt most of the year. But I just cannot fathom the fact that there are Yankee fans out here saying we shouldn't trade for Soto and blah, blah, blah. Listen, man, this just makes way too much sense to not do it. And if there's people out there saying, oh, well, Juan Soto doesn't fix everything, it doesn't make them World Series contenders. There's not a single player in baseball that does that, except for maybe Shohei Ohtani, but this is a team sport, man. But if you think it doesn't help fix the Yankees' problems, get them back to World Series contenders, it certainly helps them get a ticket to the playoffs, and that's all you need to compete for the World Series. You just need a ticket to the dance, all right? We're talking about a top 5, maybe top 3 hitter in baseball, and we already have a top 3 hitter in baseball, and he's not 2 or 3, okay? So you got Judge and Soto. When Dominguez comes back, that's the outfield. That is a potentially ridiculous outfield because Jason Dominguez is projected to be like a, I don't know, top 15 player in baseball. Like, come on. It just, this makes too much sense to not make this move. He's going to be owed around $33 million next year. And that's just arbitration. That should speak to how much impact this guy makes, how ridiculous of a player he is. He's 25 years old, okay? Everyone's saying, oh, I know that John Heyman article came out. We shouldn't be giving up, prospects for a 1-year rental. He's 25 years old, dude. Okay, like I understand. Reports just came out from Bob Clappish and Andy Martino that Soto's only going to be a rental Scott Boras clients never sign extensions, and they especially never sign extensions a year before free agency. We knew that. That wasn't really news. It was more just expected, but now it's just kind of official and confirmed. That doesn't change anything. Ryan, we talked about this right before we came on. That news, it only kind of really hurts the Padres, okay? That just brings down the price for Soto. That brings down the package that it's going to take to get him. I think you go from trading Michael King as a headliner in that deal to probably Clark Schmidt. Okay, it's not going to take a huge haul. I know Martino reported that the Padres were asking for Volpe and Dominguez. Of course they did, man. Of course they did. They'd be stupid to not ask for those two guys. You got to set the price high. That's how negotiations work. Okay, so I think what we end up seeing is either Michael King or Schmidt at the top of the deal. You throw in a guy like Herrera as a supplementary position player, and then you give them a pitching prospect or two. I'd prefer to send Drew Thorpe over there instead of Chase Hampton, so we'll put Thorpe in there, and then I guess you put like Vasquez or Brito at the end of the deal. That's the deal I'm working with. If you need to throw in Jake Cronenworth and take on some of that contract, who cares, man? We're getting Juan Soto. So Ryan, on my long-winded take on that, yeah, I cannot fathom people who don't want Juan Soto because it doesn't fix the Yankees' problems. It certainly helps, man. It certainly helps.
Yeah, I second everything you say. Look, Juan Soto, unlike my Tinder profile, it's remarkably enticing for a variety of reasons, right? I mean, who wouldn't want Juan Soto? The Yankees aren't the only team who wants Juan Soto, but it looks like the Yankees are the only team that's willing to go that extra mile for him. And as you mentioned, it doesn't look like Soto's willing to be extended before the season. That's number one. Number two, you're going to have to take a $33 million arbitration hit. That already eliminates like 70% of teams in baseball, right? And then you have to factor for the fact that you're going to have to, throw in pitching and all that stuff. And it really dwindles down the total of teams, right? Like from a financial standpoint, from a like player fit standpoint, the Mets would make a lot of sense for Juan Soto. But Andy Martino tweeted this: the pitching prospects, or not Andy Martino, excuse me, not Dan, someone said Dan Marino, Michael Marino, tweeted that the Mets kind of lack the pitching prospects to get that kind of deal done. And unless the Padres asks change, the Mets really aren't going to be able to get that involved, right? The Mets love Soto, right? Like Red Sox would probably love Juan Soto, but again, lack of pitching. The Giants would probably love Soto. I mean, they need offense, but are they going to trade in division? The Dodgers are a threat for anybody, but again, that in division thing, right? So, when you start whittling down suitor and after suitor after suitor, you kind of know about the Yankees and the Cubs, right? And you've kind of seen the buzz around the Cubs and Soto dwindle down a little bit. I actually joined MLB Nerd's space for a little bit earlier today, and he was talking about how, the Yankees and Soto, it just feels like that's just going to happen, right? Like it feels like the Yankees are the favorite in the industry right now to land Soto. So right now, I'm very confident the Yankees end up with Juan Soto. I would say my confidence meter is at 75%. Not, I'm going to say 75%. I'm not going to go 90%, not going to go 95%, not going to go 100%. I'm going to keep it at 75, which I think is a pretty generous number for Juan fucking Soto. Like, it's not like we're talking about some, 2-year, 3-year player or some, 2-war player. We're talking about maybe the best left-handed hitter in baseball. But yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at with that. Aiden, are we ready to take questions? Because we've got a lot more viewers. Like, I'm not gonna lie, we have more viewers than we've ever had in the live stream. So I'm more than thankful right now, but let's do it, man. If you're ready to get into this.
Yeah, man. Yamamoto fever. That's why we got so many people in here, man.
Yeah, let's do this. CPT Lego, thank you for stopping by. He goes, any low-key pieces that the Yankees could go after that not a lot of people are talking about? I'll go with one. Aiden, if you want to pick a player first, and do you want to pick a player first? Do you think I can go first?
You go first. I'm gonna look through just free agents real quick.
Sounds good. I'll go with Jung-Hoo Lee. I think Jung-Hoo Lee for the Yankees makes a lot of sense. There was actually Sars tweeted some batted ball data. The exit velocity numbers they're like average, right? Like, it's not great. I don't think you're going to get a lot of raw power out of him. But I do think you could see, 100 to 105 WRC plus in year one with solid defense and center. There is a lot of pressure on that defense and center field. And I think that's a concern. But if he can be a solid player in center field for you, if you have Yamamoto, you have Soto, you have Lee, You're getting 3 25-year-old players. I think that's important. I think that matters at least a little bit to the Yankees. So, the Yankees want to get left-handed outfield help. I think he adds to that. He shouldn't cost too much towards luxury tax, because he'll probably get like a 5-year, $60 million deal with an opt-out after year 3 or after year 4, or maybe 2 opt-outs. But I think that's a fit for the Yankees. There is some interest there. There have been multiple guys who have been, linked. There have been multiple reporters who have linked the two parties. And I know that there's concern like, hey, does Dominguez get blocked in that situation? Jason Dominguez right now is not he's not a sure thing. We don't know if he's the New York Yankees center fielder, not because he's not good, but defensively too. Do we know he's going to stick in center? Number one. Number two, do we know if Giancarlo Stanton's going to make it through the entire season? And do we know if he's not just injury-wise, performance-wise? We're a year and a half into him being one of the worst players in baseball. Since the All-Star break of 2022, he has a negative 1.1 F4. The Yankees have to be prepared to have to DFA him at some point during the season, and they have to be prepared for the difficult conversation regarding how the Yankees are going to navigate their outfield next year. Injuries are a common theme with this team. Maybe they keep Everson Pereira and Juan Soto deal. I actually heard in the MLB nerd space that the Padres are not that interested in Everson Pereira. So if you keep him, maybe he's your insurance there. But I do think Lee would really fit this team. If they wanted to go shorter term, I'd go Kiermaier. What about you, Aiden? Who do you got on the market?
I really don't know, man. Like, I just can't see, like, if I hate to say it, but in my mind, like, I'm already kind of penciling in Juan Soto in the outfield just because that's what I want the most in this offseason. So I kind of struggle bringing on any more outfielders. Like, I'd love Jung-Hoo Lee, but if you get Soto and Lee, that kind of raises the question of, okay, well, once Dominguez is back, where do you put Lee? Because you can't DH anyone with Stanton unless he's hurt. So I mean, I guess okay. So the Twins are clearing payroll. All right, it's been reported a couple times that the Twins are looking to clear payroll. I believe they're looking to get some pitching too. So one of those guys that's been talked about that's going to get moved is Jorge Polanco. His numbers seem to make sense for Yankee Stadium. He is a switch hitter, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yes, he is a switch hitter. So I like that. I like the lefty-righty bat. It's interchangeable. He had a 118 WRC plus last year, a 335 OBP. I'd like that to be a little bit higher, but the guy doesn't really play great defense. But if you stick him at third base, it's not going to look pretty. But you at least know you have a solid bat at third base and in the infield then, because I feel like we can pencil in Rizzo, Torres, and Volpe in the infield, DJ as well moving around. But I think Jorge Polanco could make a lot of sense for the Yankees. I don't necessarily see it happening, but I think it is one low-key guy that the Yankees can go after. I mean, just looking at the free agent list too, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a weird year for position players. I don't know, man. We've also talked about Kevin Kiermaier. I don't know how low-key of an acquisition that is, because I feel like there is some interest from both sides there. But no, that makes a ton of sense as a stopgap outfielder until Dominguez comes back.
Yeah, I agree. Look, the Yankees are. I actually like the link to Polanco. I think Jorge Polanco would be an awesome offensive fit. Not sure how the defense looks, but I mean, I think you're just like, you look at that bat and you're like, man, you just kind of figure it out. Also, you have to think, like, if they get Yamamoto, if they get Soto, what does Gleyber Torres' future with the Yankees look like? So that could be a conversation. Do the Yankees trade, Torres for controllable pitching, whatever it may be? I'm not really a fan of trading Gleyber, but the Yankees, if you tell me that the only way to get both Yamamoto and Soto is by trading Torres, you gotta say yes to that, right? Like, even if I love Gleyber, but you kind of have to say yes to that. Now moving on a little bit, Zach asked how we're doing, and I'd say we're doing pretty well. Thank you for asking, Zach. Say no to Bellinger. I'm kind of on this train now. Like, I was a little bit like, there's a world where you could probably, like, if you just play him in center all the time, like, could you get surplus value? Man, the contract demands are just absurd. I don't think he's going to get that 12-year, $252 million contract that MLB Radio was talking about. But, dude, it does not sound like he's willing to sign a 6-year, $120 million deal. it's looking like a 170, 180 million dollar deal. I'm just not doing it, right? Like I'm just not, man. I can't do that. I'm not making a 6-year commitment to Cody Bellinger. As Trevor Howley said, say no to Jacoby Bellinger. This is amazing. This is incredible. This is okay. We're starring this. This gets a star. This is a grade A comment, Trevor.
That's gold.
This is amazing.
That's
I'm
complete
tweeting
gold.
this. No, I'm gonna tweet this at some point. I'm
I will
remembering to tweet
retweet.
this. We're doing say no to I can't even say it, dude. Hold on, Jacoby Belsinger.
I don't want to take any credit.
Right?
Jacoby makes sense. I don't want to take any credit, but I feel like I was one of the first people to make that comparison. Just saying. But
I'm just gonna alter it to Jacoby Bellinger. I think that makes more. Jacoby Bellinger. I like that.
it's just that he looks like he's going to be another Jacoby Ellsbury, just a contract that doesn't age well. Left-handed center fielder, just no pop either. So yeah, I'm out on him too.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia ESM is seconding everything Aiden says right now. Bryce goes, it's not one or the other. We are the Yankees. I'm assuming this is in reference to Soto Yamamoto. Yeah, but there's also that world where the Mets are like, hey, do you want $285 million? And you have to ask yourself, can we pay Yamamoto and Soto? Will Hal Steinbrenner pay Yamamoto and Soto in the next free agency class? I'm not saying that the Yankees should like be celebrated for just getting one of the two and say that they're back because of it. But man, I'm gonna have a hard time complaining if you get Juan Soto, right? Like, what am I really like at that point? Can I really complain if they don't get Yamamoto? I feel like that's me being a dickhead at that point.
Like if the Yankees get Juan Soto, listen, I know I've defended Cashman in the past. I don't really like him. I don't really think he's the right guy for the job anymore. But if they get Juan Soto, I'm not going to complain about Brian Cashman for a long time. If they get Yamamoto, I might just not say a word about Cashman all of next year.
I would honestly, I'd consider shaving my head bald if they got both. I might have to consider that. We might have
I'm not going to go on that venture with you. I value my
Your
hair
hair's
too
good.
much.
My hair,
Thank you.
my hair's getting a little spotty. I'm not gonna lie. The aging curve. I'm currently on the Cody Bellinger aging curve. But anyways, moving on a little bit. I'm just gonna try to skimmer through and see if there are any like questions. This is off topic. This is a good clarifying question. Dylan is probably going to be doing some Fireside Yankees live streams. That's still my guy. We are going to do some Knicks stuff. But I just had Aiden available for me today, and I wanted to bring him on for a live. But yeah, we will be doing stuff. Dylan will be back on this live stream as well. Dylan's my guy. I think Clark Schmidt goes into Juan Soto trade, but don't be shocked if Ian Hamilton or Scott Efros are included. I actually really agree. I think Ian Hamilton would make a lot of sense for the Padres. And I'd go as far as to say, I think I think it's more likely that Ian Hamilton is traded to the Padres than Michael King. I genuinely do, because I don't think the Yankees are going to have to trade King to get Soto. I think King's value's I think it's overstated by baseball trade value, and I think it's understated by public perception. Michael King is really damn good. That guy rocks, right? And Ian Hamilton has 5 more years of control. Ian Hamilton wasn't his rookie season. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm seeing Efros traded, though, just because he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. I'd hold on to him, right? Like, why trade him coming back from TJS? Also, if you're trading Hamilton, like, you're going to need to get a reliever, which, I mean, Aiden, if you were to sign a reliever, like, I'd just bring back Wandy, right? Like, just throw, like,
yeah, I've been the biggest bring back Wandy guy, I think, on Twitter and, the rest of social media. It's just like, I mean, I'll pull up his numbers right now. Wandy Peralta just makes too much sense. He's kind of been the Yankees lefty specialist for a long time, I think. And for a while in 2021, he was kind of our closer. I don't listen, I know it's weird to like re-sign relievers and, give them a lot of money, but I don't think Wandy's going to cost terribly much. And his ground ball numbers are kind of one of the best you can get from a left-handed reliever. He had a 57.4 ground ball percentage this past season, 53.9% in 2022. Since he came to the Yankees, his ground ball percentage took a huge spike. He gets his Ks when he can get them. His FIP didn't look amazing this past year, but listen, I think that's still a pretty like cheap signing, and you're getting the lefty specialist you need out of him. I don't think there's ever been a moment since he's been with the Yankees where I was like, get this guy off the team. Like, I just like Wandy. He's a lot of fun too. He's got so much personality. I'm huge. I'm sure he's a huge clubhouse guy. So yeah, I don't see any reason to not bring him back. Other than that, it might cost a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, Wandy is my guy. Wandy is, well, I mean, Theo Wandy, you know what I mean? Wandy Peralta, he's been really effective for us, right? And as you alluded to there, he's not going to cost an absurd amount of money. He did take a step back in command. And I do feel a little uncertain about what direction his career is going to go. But I mean, he's not like he's 35, he's 32. It's not like you're going to like need to give him $1 billion. You give him like what, a 2-year, $10 million deal. He probably takes it, right? Yeah, I mean, I want him back. Like, he's my guy. He's my fucking dude. Giants don't spend much money. I agree. Unrelated to Soto talk, do you see Ron Marinaccio bouncing back next year? Also, good to see you too, Nick. I think Ron's gonna be fine, right? Like, well, I don't really know. Does he even open with the team next year? I know I saw somebody ask this. I'm gonna see if I can find this. But
I don't know. I really don't know either. I mean, I want to say yes. Listen, I'm from Jersey. I'm a Jersey guy. He's from Toms River, New Jersey, just like my guy Todd Frazier. I like Marinaccio too. He's Italian. Oh yeah, Ryan is a New Jersey slanderer. So anyone in the chat who's from New
let's
Jersey,
get it right. New Jersey hater. There's a difference.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
no,
that's
sorry.
even worse, bro. That's even worse.
Have you ever tried to like when I go to Binghamton? Well, not anymore. But when I was taking buses from New York City to Binghamton, and I have to go to fucking Jersey, dude. I mean, the traffic's unbelievable, man. The traffic's terrible. It's not New York City. It tries to be New York City. It's not New York City. It's not.
All I hear is wah, 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 wah. Okay?
Maybe.
Yes, it's Jersey. We have traffic. It's the same amount of traffic that's in New York. I feel like I've experienced worse traffic in New York, actually. And I'm from Jersey. I drive in North Jersey all the time. It's hell. But leave New Jersey alone. My guy, Ron Marinaccio. You know what? Ron Marinaccio is going to bounce back. He's my Jersey boy. He's from Toms River. He's going to bounce back, have a pretty solid year.
I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. Like, I'm pretty, his stuff is good. It feels like, remember when Tommy Canley just disappeared for a year in 2018? That's what it feels like. He'll be back, I think. I don't know if he'll open with the team. I think, I think he probably will, actually. I think he'll open with the team. We'll see.
There's going to be an injury, and he'll come back up. But I'm honest to God, if he can get you some kind of value in a position player, I think you absolutely do it.
Would you trade Ron Marinaccio for Dylan Carlson?
Absolutely.
I would.
Sorry. I love Marinaccio, but I would absolutely do it. Switch hitting left-handed or switch hitting outfielder plays left field. Absolutely, I would do it.
Would you? I think I'm not gonna lie. Like, because what would you perceive as like the talent gap between Carlson and Lee? All things considered, like age-wise, track record, what they'll be going forward, skill set. Like, we think about it under like power tools, not great. Speed tools, solid. Defenses, solid. Contact skills, right?
I think Lee just has the better contact skill, honestly. I mean, like, obviously, we don't know how Lee's bat is going to translate to the MLB because he played in the KBO, but I don't know. I feel like Lee's going to have a better contact rate. He's going to get on base more, but, I mean, Lee is kind of more of an uncertainty than Carlson, and I would probably, I don't know. I think I would probably take Carlson over Lee.
I think it's close. I think it's close enough to make me think about it, but we'll see. And we'll also see what the Cardinals' interest in Marinaccio looks like after the regression. They were interested in him at the deadline, but it's not like Marinaccio. Like, he was kind of sinking at the deadline. I remember that. You remember that outing against the Royals, dude, where the Yankees are like blowing out the Royals, and he comes in and he's just getting bombed. But moving on a little bit here. This is actually a Jung-Hoo Lee question. That's why I kind of wanted to lead into that a little bit. What are your thoughts on Jung-Hoo Lee? I think he's solid. I think he's going to be a solid player at the big league level. I like what he can be. I do have questions about the offensive profile, but it's all in the context of what the Yankees do. If they get Jung-Hoo Lee and they already have Juan Soto, like, fine, right? Like, I'll take that risk. If Jung-Hoo Lee's here and they don't have Juan Soto, it's like, you have a hard time selling me on the Yankee offense. There's just too many question marks. You get what I'm saying? You can't project him to be an instant contributor. but you can project him to get better, number one. And number two, he kind of brings a skill set that Yankee fans and the Yankee front office probably seems to like, right? Which is a contact left-handed hitter. So, Aiden, what are your thoughts on Jung-Hoo Lee, and what do you think he gets in the open market?
I kind of second that. I really like him. I do like what I've seen of his offensive profile, and I think he has a really pretty swing. He looks like a beast defensively too. There's just a lot of uncertainty there. You don't know how the bat's going to translate to the MLB because he's been in the KBO, but I mean his batting average is off the charts. He barely strike. I think he had a strikeout rate below 6% the last 2 years, which is just bonkers. Okay. I mean, but yeah, there's just uncertainty, and with how anemic the Yankees offense was last year and how much help it needs, I don't really think I want I want Lee. I do. I think he's going to be a ton of fun. I think he's going to be a really solid player, and I think the Yankees want to get back into that Asia market. But I don't know. I just think there's too much question marks around his bat to bring him in and slot him into the lineup and, expect that he's going to be a top contributor. I think he has leadoff hitter potential, has maybe batting title potential, but yeah, there's just too much of a question mark. So I don't even know what his market would be. I guess I would say like a 5-6 year deal, maybe AAV between like 5 and 10 million. I don't know. I'm not really sure what his market really looks like.
I agree. And look, there are concerns about how he will handle high velocity, but I've read a little bit about how he's making some swing changes, and he's kind of, preparing for that adjustment. Also could be a sneaky candidate for some bat speed training and, coming over instead of during the pandemic, where that's when Ha-Seong Kim came over to the US, coming over in a more normalized situation, United States might help him a little bit as well. He also was the better player between the two, so that matters a little bit. Let's get Paredes, third baseman, and Randy Arozarena from Tampa Bay. I'm going to put the odds of the Yankees trading for Randy Arozarena at about 0%. I just don't see it happening.
No way.
Paredes, I would love the fit. Like, that would be awesome. I just don't think the Rays are trading him right now. And also, like, if the Yankees, like, I think the Yankees are dead set on Juan Soto. I think they really want Juan Soto. If you get Juan Soto, Arozarena automatically is no longer a fit for you. So that's how I feel about the situation. Would Arozarena make the Yankees better? Would I want him on this team? Absolutely. But, like, you're going to have to trade more for Arozarena probably than you would for Soto if you kind of account for the years, right? Like, that is a legit concern. So, I mean, 0%, right? Like, do you think this is happening?
Yeah, there's like a 0% chance, maybe like 1%. I don't see the Yankees and Rays really making an in-division trade because, I mean, first off, you don't make in-division trades, and I know I'm scared of the Yankees trading with the Rays because I'm sure the Yankees probably are too. Because if the Rays are asking you about a player that they want to acquire, and like especially if he's like looks like he's maybe like a bench bat, like an under the radar guy, you got to start asking yourself some questions, and if you can get the best out of this guy, because whoever the Rays get, I feel like they're going to turn into a star. Like if you trade Ron Marinaccio in a package for Randy Arozarena, best believe Ron Marinaccio is turning into prime Mariano Rivera for like 2 years. That's just how I see it. I think Randy Arozarena would be an amazing fit for the Yankees, not as much as Soto. I want Soto more, but Arozarena would be a perfect fit for a Yankee. As a Yankee, sorry, I'm really misspeaking right now, but he slots in nice in left field. I prefer Soto because he's a left-handed bat. We need some diversity in the lineup, but Randy Arozarena is a lot of fun. Ryan, me and you have said the Yankees just need guys who bop. They need boys who bop, and that's what Arozarena does. So not only does he hit tanks, play some pretty cool defense too, but he's so much fun. Watching him in the WBC was amazing. The guy is so much fun, but there's just no way it happens. No way.
Yeah, personally, I'm gonna say the vibes would be there, but the trade is never happening. Personally, now I do second. We need boys who bop, and Juan Soto certainly is a fellow who bops. So moving on a little bit, Jordan says, "Yeah, no trade will happen to Rays." Rays are interested in Higashioka. Actually, that would kind of make sense. I could see that. Like, Higashioka, Rays don't really have catching. Actually, DFA'd or non-tendered, Francisco Mejia. That actually could work for them. That is a player who would put up a 105 WRC plus in his first year with the Rays, right? Like, we agree on that, right? 100% would. Anthony goes, "What's up, Ryan? What's good? I hope you're having a good night, my man. Do you think Soto signs?" I think means traded. Do you think he's traded during the winter meetings or after? I think during. Now, my opinion on this is that the Padres need to move Soto quick because the Padres need to sign guys. They want to be good for next year, and they can be good. Like, I don't think the Padres are done. I don't think the Padres are like in the shitter completely. I think financially they're in the shitter, but like even looking at the players they have in their core, you have Manny Machado, you have Fernando Tatis Jr., you have Hassan Kim, you can maybe extend if you deal Soto. You have Darvish, you still have Joe Musgrove. Xander Bogaerts was good in year one. He wasn't great, but he was good. If you're able to add like a Seth Lugo, let's say, bring back Seth Lugo. Let's say you added, Clark Schmidt in a trade with the Yankees. You add Chase Hampton to your farm system. Like you're going to be competitive. And it's not like the NL is top heavy. And they're not top heavy. It's like the NL is loaded. You have the Dodgers, you have the Braves, you have the Phillies. Those are the only three teams I would sit here and say are locks to make the postseason. Outside of that, like there are NL Central spot you got to lock up. So that's 4. There are 2 postseason spots that are up for grabs. The Diamondbacks are fun, but the Diamondbacks you wouldn't say are a dominant roster. The Giants want to get better, but again, not a dominant roster. The Mets are kind of in a transition year. The Brewers don't really look like they're in the condition to contend financially. The Cardinals are rebounding from a shit year, right? Like there are a lot of question marks in the National League. I think that the Padres are looking to compete. So I think that they would trade Soto fast. They could open at $33 million and then start spending again. Aiden, what do you think about the situation? Is it going to be during or after?
The pessimism isn't oh my god. The pessimism in me tells me that it happens after the winter meetings because I don't know, this offseason has been painfully slow and it feels like every offseason is painfully slow, but logically speaking, I think it happens during the winter meetings because like you said, the Padres need to go out and sign some pitching. My question is do the Yankees and Padres prioritize a trade during the winter meetings when they could be meeting with players' agents instead and hammering out deals they need to get done? I don't know, but like in terms of the MLB offseason as a whole, I feel like a Yankees Padres trade kind of needs to happen so the rest of the market can get going. And it needs to happen so the Padres can go out and get some starting pitching. I feel like the Padres have incentive to make this trade before the winter meetings. Like, if you know you're going to trade this guy, as much as they don't want to, I feel like they know they need to trade him, and it just seems inevitable at this point. Passan said it's pretty much going to happen. It makes the most sense for them. Rosenthal said yesterday in his notes column, it's not a matter of if he gets traded, it's who he gets traded to. So I feel like the Padres, if they're being a smart organization, and AJ Preller, he's smart, but he has his moments where he's not so smart. That's why they're kind of in this situation. But if they're going to be smart, you got to get this deal done so you can free some money off the books to go sign some pitching because their rotation right now looks like dog shit, quite frankly. So, yeah, I think this happens during the meetings. I would even, being optimistic, I want to say it happens before the meetings.
Yeah, I would agree, and I just think there's incentive to get it done fast, right? I think there's some incentive again because a lot of this has to do with finances. So that's how I feel about the situation. But moving on a little bit here, this is another thing about the number reservation thing that Wilfred brought up. That given the historical context, it goes back to 1960 with that number. Yamamoto's father grew up a Yomiuri Giants fan, so it could have extra significance in that way. Now, I also wanted to bring this comment up because Wilfred is on Twitter, and Wilfred is probably the most informational guy when it comes to, international free agents and talking about that stuff with the Padres. I'm trying, not the Padres, with international free agency and all that. I want to pull up his Twitter account. I don't know why I can't find it.
Wilfred just followed me. Thank you for the follow. If you need his Twitter handle, it's Wilfred, BERGQVI1.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, make sure you guys follow him. He's more than tapped in with international free agency. He's probably, if you have questions about like the Jung-Hoo Lee stuff, about Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shonobu Naga, he is the guy to go to. This guy is remarkably smart when it comes to international free agency and is tapped in the international market and loves international baseball. So, he's given a lot of information here that I couldn't give. I did not know this stuff. So this is pretty cool that, there is that context of like, hey, there's maybe more of an emotional appeal or like a connection appeal here that the Yankees are kind of getting at here. Look, the Yankees love Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I think that's what's apparent, and it looks like they want to roll out the red carpet for him. What do you make of the Athletic article that said the Yankees are reluctant to trade Thorpe for Soto? I think that they're going to be reluctant to make any trade for any top prospects until the Padres, start getting offers, right? If nobody, do we have any reports that the Cubs have exchanged names, that the Mariners have exchanged names, that any other team has? If other teams aren't tapping in as much, why should the Yankees trade Drew Thorpe? Why should the Yankees trade Anthony Volpe? Why should the Yankees trade Jason Dominguez? We know it's going to require that type of prospect in terms of a Drew Thorpe or a Chase Hampton, but I think you have to work your way to that point. Just like the Padres are going to have to work their way down from Volpe, Dominguez to, probably more of a Chase Hampton or, getting a Spencer Jones or an Everson Pereira, right? The Yankees are going to have to work their way up from, hey, you guys don't have any leverage here to, all right, we're going to give in a little bit. That's how negotiations work. And I'm actually really excited to see how this this trade saga plays out, because I have no idea who's going to be involved in this trade beyond like a, Clark Schmidt or a Michael King. And I think definitely at this point, Chase Hampton's gone in a trade like that. So I think Thorpe actually stays. And I'm pretty happy with that, because keeping one of your top two pitching prospects is definitely a win when you're trading for Juan Soto. He meant trade. This is a clarification of his earlier question. It's about Juan Soto. Every content creator you watch wants Juan Soto 100%. Stanley, get Messi. Now, my glorious soccer king, I actually don't watch soccer. I just, my guy Carlos loves, our guy Carlos loves Messi. So that's my guy as well. So yeah, sure. We should add Messi to the New York Yankees. I think that Yerry De Los Santos signing plus guys like Scott Efros coming back from TGS tells us that Middleton won't return. I don't know if that rules out a Middleton return, but yeah, I would say the Yankees' surplus of right-handed relief pitching makes it hard for me to see them bringing back another right-handed relief pitcher. Unless he signs for nothing. I do like him. Like, Middleton was awesome. He was fiery, energetic. Like, I love the guy. The dude, as a person, as a player, like, I need that on the New York Yankees. But then again, like, you could probably get his production from Scott Efros for nothing, right? So, and as we mentioned earlier, like, is Ron Marinaccio going to bounce back? Clayton Beeter, like, what does his role in the Yankees look like next year? Does Randy Vasquez or Johnny Brito or both of them, do they both take steps up next year? Like, what does the bullpen look like? Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't really think that the Yankees are in a situation where they need to be paying right-handed relief pitchers, although I would love to see Middleton back. If you had any thoughts.
Oh yeah, my thoughts on that. Yeah, no, I want Middleton back. He looks like a lot of fun. He was pretty solid in like the few games he had with the Yankees. But yeah, Scott, I think they almost could maybe bring Middleton back because Efros is kind of uncertain with the Tommy John surgery, but he was pretty good in his short couple of games with the Yankees. But yeah, I mean, the bullpen is always a mixed bag every single year. We literally every single year have no idea what, guys the Yankees are going to be picking up for their bullpen. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, end of the day, like, do I want to pay? I'm just not in the camp of like, let's pay right-handed relief pitchers. Although again, I'd be like, if the Yankees are like, fuck it, we don't care about money, I'd be very happy with that. My dad is a moron. He wants Cody Bellinger over Soto. I'm not in the market of disrespecting anybody's parents, but I would say it's the incorrect baseball opinion. That is the farthest I'll go on that comment. We need Cody as well. I don't think we need Cody Bellinger. I think the idea that we need him isn't really like, it just isn't. I don't know if you need to overpay him. Like, I think this growing notion that we need him is mostly from people who are going to be very upset when he doesn't work out as a contract. And I think that's the thing here. I hope he works out as a contract because I don't have any ill will against Cody Bellinger. I just think it's not the risk for the Yankees to take. The Yankees take a lot of risks already, have a lot of bad contracts. This would be another bad contract. This would be another, like, you kind of get nervous about how it's going to age. Yamamoto will feed families in 2024, or 2024 will feed families. Yeah. We talked about Wandy Peralta. I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay, right?
Agreed. He'll probably stay, I think.
Right. A lot of these are just like comments about, like, Wandy Peralta, Yamamoto, all that stuff. This is an interesting question. Would y'all be against trading for Shane Bieber? Depending on the price, I could get on board with it. But man, I just like the track record of, like, the Guardians trading pitchers. A lot of them have broken down after that. Now, Bieber this past season was he's steadily seen his swinging strike rate decrease, and that is concerning. Now, is he bad? No, he's still a good pitcher. Like, last season, he put up a 3.80 ERA. That's not bad. That is objectively good, right? The year prior, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball, and it was very sustainable, right? Like, a lot of swings and misses, a lot of, good ground balls. I know he got hit a little hard. Had great command. Like, if you get 2022 Shane Bieber, dude, that would be sick, right? But it is a one-year rental. I'm not really in the market of paying Shane Bieber. Depends on what that would look like.
He's a free agent in 2025, right?
Right. So he is a rental. Yeah. I don't know I just don't know what you're gonna get in. What do you have to trade for him? Like, if Everson Pereira stays in a Soto deal, I'm not sure I'm trading Everson Pereira for 1 year Shane Bieber, right? I don't know if I would. Maybe I would. I would have to think about it. I don't know. It kind of feels like the Bellinger thing where it's like, all right, the Yankees' issue in the rotation is that they keep getting hurt. So the solution is to trade for a guy who had some shoulder issues last year and only threw 128 innings. Now, granted, that would be the third most innings pitched by any Yankee last year, but still concerning. Aiden, if the Yankees were to trade for Shane Bieber, number one, would you be happy with it? And number two, if you're on the fence, what would it take for you to be on the fence for it?
To get off the fence?
Yeah, I guess, like, what's your like, how do you feel about Bieber, and then, like, why you feel that way, or if you're kind of in the middle? Like, I'm just curious to get your thoughts on him.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle too, just because I don't know what the price tag would be. He had a fantastic 2022. He threw 200 innings. I mean, I'm kind of a little old-fashioned in that when I look at pitchers, I look at how much innings they threw the year before, because you need innings eaters, you need guys to stay healthy, and he's had a pretty good past couple of years. 200 innings in 2022, 128 in 2023, and it looks like 21 games started. So he did miss a bit of time. What I do like about him is his pitch mix. He really, really likes his cutter. And what we know about Matt Blake is Matt Blake loves cutters. So I think, Shane Bieber worked with Matt Blake when Matt Blake was over in Cleveland. So I think that would make a lot of sense. I'm sure Matt Blake would love to have him over here. I think that would be a nice fit for the Yankees, but you just don't know what the price tag is. Would be a 1 year rental, but if you're trading for Soto, I don't really think you want to give up the prospects for Shane Bieber after already giving up enough prospects. So I feel like the Yankees, in terms of acquiring, like, top-notch starting pitching this offseason, I think it's really just Yamamoto or bust. I almost said Yamamoto. That's how much it's seared into my brain. It's like just, but yeah, I think after Yamamoto, I don't think the Yankees are going to be too aggressive on the free agent market for free agent or trade market for top-notch starting pitching. So, like, I really like the fit, but I'm just on the fence because of what the price is. I'll be off the fence if that price is low. Like, if it takes, I don't know, if it takes like Brock Selvage, I don't know, that's pretty low. Like, if that takes Brock Selvage and a couple of other prospects, I'm not really against that, but it's just the price tag for me.
Low key, I would do Oswald Peraza for Shane Bieber straight up. Like, if that's the deal, I would do that straight up. I think that's crazy, but I would do it straight up.
I think the Guardians say no, but
I agree, but I would do that.
I'm sorry. I like if the Yankees can find a way to offload Oswald Peraza, like, I'm all for that move.
Yeah, I kind of want to
see him panning out.
I want to get the chat perspective on Oswald Peraza. What do we think about what should you do with him? And I also need to answer. I need to address this question. Dream on this rotation: Cole, Rodon, Yamamoto, Bauer, Snell. If the Yankees sign Trevor Bauer, there will be like the only thing I'll be feasting on is a 12 gauge shotgun, just straight into my mouth. There is not a planet in which I would ever want to see Trevor Bauer pitch for the New York Yankees. That guy is not like, talk about just not a good person.
He's a scumbag. He's a scumbag.
I don't need this arrogant prick to come to New York and make the media cycle all about himself too. This guy is a narcissistic clubhouse cancer. Garrett Cole hates the guy. I know on Twitter he was like, Garrett Cole and I don't have beef. That's all fabricated. Garrett Cole, my precious, glorious king. I will never bring anybody to this organization who would make him unhappy. And then, of course, the overlooming thing with him and ongoing investigations. That is a whole, like, there is just too much baggage. Look, if you're a Yankee fan and you're like, man, I hope the Yankees don't get guys who are question marks. And then you go, let's sign the guy who hasn't pitched in Major League Baseball in a year and a half and has a billion question marks off the field. Stay far away from the guy.
Listen, and back on him saying that he's cool with Garrett Cole now, that's like I tweeted this out. That's like that one dude in college that shows up to the frat party and like when he comes up to the bouncer, he's like, "Oh yeah, I know John. Yeah, we go way back in our hometown. We go way back. Yeah. Call him up." And like there's not even a John in the fraternity. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, this guy, he's a complete loser. I'm not gonna lie. Complete transparency, biggest loser in baseball. And I wouldn't touch him with a 45-foot pole. Shout out Garrett Cole for that. Looking for some more questions here. Gotta scroll all the way back up kind of a little bit. Where do we? Okay. So this is about Lee. This is about Glaber. Peraza better defender than Volpe. I guess that's related to this, but like we think we're past the point of talking about who's going to play shortstop next year.
What's the Glaber question?
The Glaber thing was more so just like reaffirming that, yeah, like if you would have to, you would trade. Oh wait, no, it's a little bit more. Hold on. Oh, okay, now I read it. No, because I kind of skimmed through it. I thought it was just like if you had to trade for Glaber to get Soto Yamamoto, that would make sense. I'd be like, yeah, of course. But he said trying to land Jonathan India. No, the defense at second base is terrible. He is a natural third baseman, but you have to trust him at third base. And we've never seen him play third base at the major league level. He has injury issues. I'm good. Right? I'm good on that. I'm good on that.
I don't think his offense is that sustainable either. Like he seems kind of fluky. He had a 99 WRC plus this year, 96 last year. He did have that good 2021, but like the guy just doesn't move the needle for me. And I think you said, right, like he has some pretty bad defense. Yeah, he has some terrible defense. No, thank you. No way.
Yeah, he's got brick hands out there. Also, our guy Sam is in the chat. Sam is in the chat. If you guys don't know Sam is part of Fire Yankees. Honestly, if you don't know who Sam is, you probably are a first-time viewer here. Sam obviously does a lot of work on our socials, has been on the pod a few times. I know Sam and I did a mailbag and we did some other cool stuff. Ron Marnaccio is from the University of Delaware. I was not aware of this.
From Jersey, from the University of Delaware. Like, come on.
I was not aware at all. Like I'm like the worst with like everybody's like, this guy, like, guess where this guy went to college from? And like the NFR NBA, I'm like, no fucking clue. Not gonna lie. Shout out the University of Villanova, by the way, or Villanova University. Shout them out. Love that school. Big fan of that school. Massive fan. Hey, you know what I'm talking about. Moving on a little bit. Bregman for third would be sick. I would get on my knees for Alex Bregman at third base. I don't care. Look, I don't care that he was on the 2017 Astros. I don't care. Oh, wait. Got any soul shots? He got suspended. He's gone. Brendan Q's gone. Guys, this is a sad day. I saw this in the fireside chat. Brendan Q's gone. He's gone from Twitter, man.
Was he suspended or did he?
I don't know. But guys, I know that the Juan Soto stuff is great and the Yoshinobu Yamamoto stuff is great. but this is a sad day for Yankee Twitter. You know, honest to God, I know that Twitter sometimes, like, Elon had to put his foot down and kind of end the drama, right? And end of the day, it is what it is. But it's a tough loss for Yankee Twitter. I can't take myself seriously. Aiden, you have any comments on the loss of Brendan Q?
Uh, no comment. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone.
But back to Bregman. I would trade for Bregman. Now, this is actually a legitimate point. Somebody was like, wait. Glaber and Bregman were pretty similar last year offensively. That is a good point, but I would counter with this. I do feel like Alex Bregman, in terms of you got Bregman, you moved Glaber. I think you're just getting more value back in total because you're getting Bregman, who I think is a slightly better player. The defense does matter here. Bregman is a better defensive player than Glaber Torres is. And if you were to trade Glaber, you'd be getting something back for him. And you'd be getting something pretty solid back for him. I don't think the Yankees are looking to trade Glaber unless they get something good back for him. I think they're willing to let him walk in free agency personally. And that's fine. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to let a player walk in free agency. I think what's bad is trying to trade a player because you're trying to save money, even though they can help you right now. I think you kind of have to be all in right now. I don't think we're going to know what they're doing with Torres until after the Soto and Yamamoto kind of situations fold themselves or sort themselves out. But Aiden, if you had to predict right now, it is November 29th, 8:02 Eastern time. Does Torres stay? Is he traded? And if he stays, does he end up walking free agency or the Yankees extend him?
There's no reason for the Yankees to trade Gleyber Torres right now. The Yankees had a terrible offense last year, and Gleyber Torres was their second best hitter behind Aaron Judge, who was out for half the year. So for half the year, Gleyber Torres was the Yankees' best hitter. So when you're trying to get better offensively, you're not going to take away from the offense, okay? Like, if people want to trade him for pitching, why? Why? There's so much other pitching on the market that we could get without trading Gleyber Torres. I think if he does stay, I hate to say it, but I could totally see him walking in free agency, and I feel like that could be a mutual parting ways. I can totally see Gleyber wanting to stay, but I don't know if the Yankees are that in love with him to bring him back, especially when I'm not going to. If in the case that you would have to pay Juan Soto next offseason, I don't think they pay Gleyber Torres, just given the current payroll too. So I think, you got a ton of guys in the minors that are going to be ready by then. I think, a guy like Trey Sweeney might look good at second base. Who knows? Roderick Arias could be a fast riser. He could be in Double-A by then. So, I don't think – I think the Torres stays this offseason. I think he has a fantastic 2024, but I don't really see him staying after that.
Yeah, and you mentioned Trey Sweeney. We have a question about Trey Sweeney. I was like, I knew I saw one, and I wanted to get back to it. Trevor asks, should Trey Sweeney be traded, or should they keep him around? I think he's not going to be, I don't think the Yankees are thinking about, all right, we got to trade Trey Sweeney. He's not Rule 5 eligible yet. That's next year. He had a good, not great year in Double-A. That's kind of defined Trey Sweeney's professional career. He's always been good, but you're kind of like, but you should be better, right? Like, it's like, but you could be better. Like, he's always gotten those, second half surges, and you're like, yep, this guy's going to be really good. And then the next fall, last year, he ended the season hot, and it just didn't translate to start the year. And then he came back from injury. He looked great. He had a really good second half. He's left-handed. He's got a really good hit tool. They're trying to get him to, kind of find that game power because he has pretty good raw power and have it click with his really good hit tool and plate discipline. I think this could be a pretty good player. Do you think the Yankees end up keeping Sweeney? Do these in their future plans? What do you think is the short-term future and I guess long-term future for Trey Sweeney, Aiden?
I mean, I don't think they're going out of their way to trade Sweeney. I don't think they're like, oh yeah, we should probably get Sweeney somewhere else. But I could totally see him in a trade package somewhere. Like if the Padres for some reason asked for Trey Sweeney in a Soto deal, sure, have him. I don't really care one way or another. But I don't know. I feel like he's been a pretty high caliber, not high caliber, but on the Yankees prospect list for a pretty long time. And I kind of like what he brings to the table. he's a left-handed. Is he a switch hitter or is he a left-handed hitter?
He's left-handed.
Okay, he's left-handed. So I like left-handed hitters. I think his offense has been a little bit all over the place, if I'm not mistaken. But I think they keep him around just to continue to develop him. I think the fact that he hasn't been traded by now speaks to how much the Yankees like him. But yeah, no, I think he stays around.
Also, fun fact, I'm going to double check this, but last time I checked when I was doing my prospect rankings, he did have pretty good defensive grades according to Baseball Prospectus at the shortstop position, which, look, minor league defensive data is about as accurate as a drunk guy pissing, but look, dude, at least it's something, right? Like if he's a positive defender at shortstop, you imagine it translates well to like third base or second base. And again, if he can be like a solid hitter, you kind of like the profile. But that I think I think I need to see a better 2024 before I start penciling him for the Yankees infield plans at any point in time. I prefer another high-end starting pitcher. If Yamamoto bidding gets high, Yankee rotation has a high ceiling already, needs a better floor, which could better fit long-term Hal's budget. I agree to an extent. I'm not saying I don't want to pay an exorbitant amount for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, but from the context of how the Yankees have operated in recent years, you kind of have to think about when Hal's going to want to get under the CBT. And Aiden, I think we can agree here, they're not going to pay $280 million for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. If you're looking at another option, I like Imanaga. He would be a risk as well because he is coming from the MPB and we don't know how that translates, and he does have some home run issues. I think Montas would be a nice cheap depth option, but I'd like to get more than just him, especially for trading pitching for Soto. I don't really know who else really entices me. Maybe Eduardo Rodriguez. Like I think that'd be like a happy like medium signing. He's a proven guy. He has AL East experience. Is there anybody else like that you're like, yeah, I gotta, if we sign him, that'd be great. Right?
Snell, maybe. I don't know. Snell's kind of.
He's a risk.
He's a risk. His market's kind of weird. I think he has really bad walk rate too, if I'm remembering right.
I would low key. I don't know if the Yankees would be able to because if we're trading for Soto, it's gonna be hard to do the bidding for this. I mean, if you keep Pereira, could you do like Pereira, Peraza, and like a pitcher for Burns or something like that? I don't know. Like I don't think so. I don't think you could do it, but like find like maybe a Mitch. I actually really like Mitch Keller. I would
maybe. I think so. I feel like I don't think the Corbin Burns price would be super high because his arbitration situation has been well documented. His whole he wants to be there. Like, don't get him wrong. Corbin Burns wants to be in Milwaukee, but I believe he was on foul territory not too long ago, and he was basically like, yeah, the Brewers kind of told me like, listen, we want to keep you, but it just doesn't work out for us. Like the Brewers cannot pay Corbin Burns. So knowing that they can't pay him, I feel like his price is lower because they kind of have to trade him. Like you're not just going to let this guy walk in free agency. You have to get some value out of him. So I think that happens near the trade deadline though. Like if the Yankees were to trade for Corbin Burns, that happens at the trade deadline.
I agree. I was going to say, I think, first off, I think they should see if they can compete next year. And then deadline, people are going to be, dude, I am going to be like, if Corbin Burns I know Corbin Burns wasn't dominant last year, and I think Foolish Baseball, excuse me. But he did do it on his Foolish Bailey channel, so that's why I said it like that. I'm going to double check his ERA exactly. But if you just closed your eyes, and this is the production you got from a pitcher, 3.39 ERA, which is a 77 ERA minus, and 193 and 2/3 innings pitched. Sign me up for that. I would take that any fucking day of the week. That's an ace, right? 77 ERA minus 193 innings. That's an ace. That and Garrett. Could you imagine a world where the Yankees got like Cole, Yamamoto, and then traded for Corbin Burns?
Listen, I don't care what state the Yankees rotation is in by the trade deadline. Like it could be the best rotation in the league. If Corbin Burns is available, Ryan Cashman, go out and get him. Like
He's durable.
Yeah, it's a cheap couple month rental. You see if you can get him on a nice deal in the offseason. But if you're in contention, which the Yankees should be by the trade deadline, and Corbin Burns is available, go do it. Could you imagine? Could you imagine in the division series, you got a you got a 4-man rotation. You got Garrett Cole, you got Corbin Burns, you got Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and then you got Carlos Rodon. That's an excellent 4-man rotation for the playoffs.
Could you imagine if Rodon pitches closer to that 2022 season, man?
Listen, like I know we said like last year this is the best rotation of all time, but like a rotation with Cole, Yamamoto, Burns, Rodon, and Cortez, and maybe even Montas at the back end, like that is one of the best rotations I've ever seen or penciled up.
Yeah, I would cry. Now, another Brewers pitcher that, the Yankees might take a flyer on, Wilfred brings up Brandon Woodruff. I was for it, and now I'm against it. That shoulder injury is scary. I'm more scared of a shoulder injury like that than of an elbow injury. There were some reports that he felt like tingling, like in his fingers. He couldn't feel his fingers. That is right there. That is right there the scariest. That's like the red ring of death for Xbox, but for but for pitching. You're
I
done.
had the same thing when I was in high school and I never pitched again.
It's the death sentence. You can come back from UCL tear. That though, when you have nerve damage, it's what ended Steven Strasburg's career. It's what people consider to have ended Matt Harvey's career. I don't see a world. I'm not saying that Brandon Woodruff can't bounce back. I'm not saying I'm not rooting for him to bounce back. I am. But what I am saying is I don't believe he will bounce back. And another team could take that flyer, and I'd rather just sign Montas at that point. Which I'm sorry, right? Like I hate to do it. I hate to, but yeah, no, I don't really think
it's a scary injury. It's not looking good.
Right. Like I think you can agree with me. It's just like, no.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
There was wait, go ahead.
No, you're all right.
I was gonna say there was a question here about Max Kepler or Jung-Hoo Lee. You wanted to put us on the spot, Trevor. I would take Kepler in a vacuum. Like in a vacuum, I would take Kepler. But Kepler he's never come out and said this. So I understand that this is with an asterisk. But I've seen a lot of Twins fans and a lot of like Twins forums and just writers as well talk about Kepler didn't want to play center field. He refused to play center field. I don't know if that changes if he comes over to the Yankees. And it's not like you get to sit down and go, all right, Kepler, we're going to put you in center, and then you get great defense. Soto was a bad defensive left fielder. Let's just get that out of the way. That doesn't mean I don't want him, but that is true. Every player is limited. No player is perfect. He is a flawed player like everybody else. He is a bad defender. I just don't think you can stomach bad left field defense, bad center field defense, and get by with that. I think you need a guy who can play center reliably, and I'm not sure Kepler could do that. Now, could Judge slide over the center? Sure, but they acquired Bader for the reason of not putting Judge in center, right? That was the whole point. And after that toe injury, I think the Yankees kind of want to start. I think deep down, part of the motivation to get Soto is building up that contingency plan of when Judge is getting older and when Judge is in his Stanton years, not like regression-wise, but age-wise, you don't have to play Judge in right field every day. I think they see what happened to Stanton and they're like, all right, we've got to be wary of how Judge is going to age. You have to be wary about the wear and tear on his body. I don't think putting him in center field is a great idea anymore. Not saying to never play him there, but I think for the Yankees' perspective of what they need in center, I think Lee is more realistic. Aiden, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Lee is probably the more realistic thing to happen if you're looking for a center fielder, but who would I take? I would probably take Kepler just because there's not as much question marks around him. You kind of know what you're getting out of him. He had a pretty good season last year, so like, yeah, of course I take Kepler over a guy that we don't really know how he's going to pan out in the MLB, and I like Kepler's. He has more pop, and I like pop.
Dude, boys who bop. Could you imagine like Kepler dropping like 25 bombs, right? Like that'd be special. Low key, like Kepler would low key mash at Yankee Stadium too, which is part of what I really like. Where will Spencer Jones play when he gets called up? I've heard he's an excellent defensive center fielder. Like I've heard he's really damn good. Like unbelievable. I heard that might be like what he is. You know what I mean? Like he's a center fielder in my eyes. And we brought him on last year. He actually talked about a great athlete, like great speed, great defender, all that stuff. I don't know. I think that's where he plays. I don't know if he comes up this year, though. I think it'll probably be a situation.
The question is he a Padre next year or not? Kind of.
That's a really good question.
So
he might be.
But I think, listen, like, honestly, if you have Soto, Dominguez, and Judge and Stanton, and I don't know, whoever the stopgap center fielder is, where do you play Spencer? Like, I'm trying to find a spot for where Spencer Jones would play, and it's not looking great. But I mean, the guy looks like he's going to be an excellent baseball player. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think like, but could you imagine? Like, I was talking about this with Alex after recording an episode. Could you imagine like you get Soto, you have Judge, and like Jones becomes like something, right? And you've got a great defensive center fielder. The comp I used for him was like last year's Adam Duvall offensively, where it's like low OBP, a lot of strikeouts, ton of home runs, put up a 116 WRC plus. Could you imagine that sandwiched in between in the outfield, Soto and Judge? That would be a really nice get for the Yankees, right? Like, I know that when we look at Jones, we think Aaron Judge, but I need people to remember that Aaron Judge is like Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball, arguably. Like outside of Shohei Ohtani, even he's put up years where he's rivaled Shohei Ohtani. Like there's a reason why he's considered like one of the best players in baseball and has an insane peak. You're not getting Aaron Judge and Spencer Jones. Not trying to diss the guy, but it's Aaron fucking Judge, right? Like that's not fair to do to a prospect. With that being said, I think Jones can handle center. So I would be excited to see him out there. I wonder if Pereira can play center for the Yankees. I wonder if that's something they've thought about. I'm not saying full time, but like if let's say they get Kiermaier and then something were to happen to Kiermaier, would they play him in center field? I think that might be an option. I don't know. He's played center before. I just the thing I have is the injuries. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of the injuries in him. They put him in the corner outfield, I think, for that reason. He can probably handle center. He's a good athlete. It's not like he's a bad athlete. He's just the bat is what you're concerned about too. I have questions about Pereira, but I think that kind of goes with any prospect. Aiden, I'm gonna start looking for any more like some big time questions, like something like that we haven't at least touched upon. I guess trading catchers. Probably gonna be right. It's probably gonna be Higgy and Rortvet. They're probably gone, right?
I
Not
can't
even
I can't see Higgy and Rorfet on this roster next year. There's just not really a spot for them. Like Rorfet stinks. First off, I'm sorry, he's not a good baseball player, and I like Higashioka. He's been great for the Yankees, a nice backup catcher, but there's just like there's no fit for him, and I think his control. I think next year is his last year of control. So yeah, I don't know. With Narvaez down there, you got Augustin Ramirez. There's just so much, and also knows, of course, there's just not a spot for Higgy and Rortvet. So I think that's who the catchers getting traded are.
I 100% agree. There's Yanks are not getting Soto. They don't want to deal with any of their top prospects. Yeah, man. And you know, I can't dunk. I can dunk. I can dunk. I'm grade A dunker. I've got 80 grade dunk tools, dude. I'm fucking yamming it on people. Look, I'm not saying the Yankees are 100% getting Juan Soto, but if we're at the point where you don't think the Yankees are going to move what it takes to get Soto, I don't know what to tell you. Luis Gil. We still got Luis Gil. Luis Gil would be an amazing closer. I like what Luis Gil might be next year. I'm not trying to rely on him. I'm not going to lie. Don't really want to rely on him because he's coming back from an injury. But when he was healthy, dude threw fucking gas. No clue where the ball was going. No clue. None. But he threw gas. And not going to lie, guy who throws gas and has no idea where the ball's going, is that not exactly what the Yankees do with relievers? Like they're like, we'll turn
Aroldis Chapman.
Right.
That's just Aroldis Chapman.
Clay Holmes. Like Clay Holmes, remember?
Yeah.
Dude didn't know where the ball's going.
He never knew where the ball was going.
Never knew where the ball was going. But I think he'd be a fun reliever, and I don't think he's got any more minor league options left. So I think that's something he's going to have to kind of be next year. Thoughts on Trent Grisham as a stopgap center fielder? I actually think I would like if you ask me who I would rather have for 2024. I'm not sure I'd be able to pick Kiermaier. Like definitely, I think it would be a toss up for me. But given the age of Grisham, I think he would play a little bit better at Yankee Stadium than he would at San Diego. I mean, if you get like a 100 WRC plus out of him, I don't think that's the likeliest outcome. That's probably like a 60th percentile outcome, but his glove is great. His speed is really good. Aiden, would you take Trent Grisham on as a center fielder?
I mean, I'm just looking through his Fangraph page right now. Honestly, yeah, he had a pretty good 2023 defensively in center field. One defensive run saved, 7 outs above average. And the year before, he had 14 outs above average in center field. His bat, pretty mid, but I think there's some upside there. His EV jumped this last season. I mean, yeah, honestly, yeah, I couldn't make a case for Kiermaier over Grisham either, but I don't really think that's someone the Padres are looking to part ways with, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has 2 years. Yeah, he has 2 more years of control, so I think that's someone they hold on to. But I would absolutely love Trent Grisham as a stopgap center fielder.
I agree. I don't think we're gonna get him, but I would be happy to get him. That's where I'm at with this situation. Um, as much I don't like Margot, Higgy's time is done. I'd rather use Florial and trade for Margot. Hot take, I don't agree with that. I would rather have Margot than Florial. I don't think Florial is a major league player still, man. I'm not convinced yet. I was like, there were stretches where I'm like deluding myself into it, but I can't buy in on the profile. I just don't know. I'm not saying Margot's good, but let's be real here. Margot was an outfielder on a competitive Rays team. It's not like he was on some shitty team, right? Like a smart front office has rostered him for 3 years, right? If we're gonna say Margot is a player that you get if you're a team that isn't good, the Rays have been pretty damn good the last few years, right? So I think Manuel Margot is a fine addition. I'm not in love with it. I'm not clamoring for it. I'm not pounding the table for it. But am I going to sit here and say, oh my God, they got Manuel Margot if Juan Soto's walking through that door and, they platoon Margot with like a Kevin Kiermaier? No, I'll be fine with it, right? Like, I guess from a money perspective, sure. I just don't buy into I just don't know. I don't know if he's a major league player, man. I don't. That's my concern with Florial. I don't know if he's a major league player. If he was good, I feel like teams would pick him up, and I feel like the Yankees would still have him, right? Or the Yankees would play him more, right? It's not like anybody was clamoring to trade for him. If he was really that good, would more teams in baseball not have already tried to get him? That's mainly my point right now.
I mean, in terms of like who I would take as a player, of course I'm taking Margot. You know what you're getting from Margot. Florial is basically a quadruple A player. I do think Florial has been a little bit of a victim of how much playing time he's been getting. Like he's basically just been up and down from triple A. He's been up when the Yankees need a spot start in center field. But like yeah, I honestly kind of agree. I'd rather use Florial than trade for Margot because there's just no way I want to make any kind of trade with the Rays and possibly make them better if they don't want Margot around. And if they can't get rid of Margot and his $10 million owed next year, then let him keep Margot. Let him eat that money because the Rays hate spending money on players apparently. So they look like they don't even want to pay Randy Arozarena, and he looks like he could have been a franchise guy. So yeah, I'd rather just take Florial. He's probably going to get spring training time. He's probably going to be fighting for that fourth outfielder spot in spring training. But I'm only taking Florial just because he doesn't really cost anything.
That's fair. I don't disagree. We're probably gonna start winding down with questions at this point. We were gonna try to keep it to an hour, but we decided to extend it. So we'll probably take some final questions and then wrap up from there. The Wicked 50 Cal says, if the Yankees make moves at the deadline or at the winter meeting, excuse me, what do you think they do? I think it's Soto. I think Soto is the guy, right? Like, I don't think Yamamoto is necessarily in a position to sign. I don't think he has to sign at the end of the winter meetings. I think he's open to it, but he's got the rest of December to let that happen. I think Soto is the first big domino to fall. Or maybe it's Ohtani, but the Yankees aren't signing Ohtani, right? We're past that point. I think Soto's the first move they make, and I think Soto is happening this winter meeting. Aiden, you got anybody else you think could happen during the winter meetings?
Well, I think the thing about Yamamoto is I don't know if I've read this, but I think it's either he's going to make his decision during winter meeting or no. Okay, so he's meeting with teams during winter meetings. So I don't really think he makes his decision then. I think he makes it after. So if the Yankees are going to make moves at winter meetings, I think like at the top of their list right now, like when they fly into it's in Tennessee this year, when they fly into Tennessee, I think like at the top of their list is like, all right, we're going to get to the hotel and like we got to get AJ Preller in a room and lock him in the room until this deal is hammered out. Like I feel my wishful thinking believes that. So I think Soto, yeah, at the top, but like if the Yankees do anything else, I think it's kind of like some depth adds. I think maybe like a deal for a stopgap center fielder gets done, like for Kevin Kiermaier. I could definitely see a Frankie Montas deal getting maybe hammered out as their like sixth depth starter. Peralta too. I could definitely see a Wandy Peralta deal happening next week. But yeah, I think like if something's gonna happen next week, I think like logically and wishfully thinking speaking, I think Juan Soto happens at the winter meetings.
I would agree. Now there is a popular guy kind of floating around now in the chat. Ryan McMahon. How do you feel about Ryan McMahon playing third base? I don't think Ryan McMahon's being traded. I don't really think it's the best fit in the world. I'm not going to lie. Like, he's a great defender. Don't get me wrong. Excellent defensive third baseman. Would be a clear upgrade over anyone the Yankees have, I think, eternally defensively. Yes, even over Oswald Peraza. This guy's like a gold glove caliber defender there. But, like, I know the numbers look good. Not adjusted for cores, but when you adjust for cores, an 88 WRC plus, 95, 93. Do we think these numbers are going to get better in New York? I mean, maybe he figures something out with the Yankees, but they extended him. He's going to make $11.7 million a year for the next like half decade. I don't see the Rockies trading him, and I don't think he's a huge upgrade for the Yankees. Aiden, what do you think about McMahon?
I feel like you just take the flyer on like you see what you get from Peraza instead. I don't like the only reason like I see Ryan McMahon making sense more than Peraza is just the left-handed bat, more diversity in the lineup. Like I know Yankee Stadium isn't actually like good for left field or left-handed hitters like people say, but like I don't see him really improving with the Yankees, and like acquiring him in the first place, he is a very, very mediocre bat, below average. He's never had a WRC plus above 100 in his what is this a 6-year, 7-year career, and he's never had an OPS above 800. And he had a lot of BABIP luck last year, it looks like, and even then he wasn't great. So I don't know. McMahon doesn't really make a lot of sense for the Yankees in my eyes, and I don't think the Rockies are really looking to part ways with him.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we want to argue like the Yankees could figure out something in McMahon, and he is better again, like he does really well against righties. In the last 3 years, above 100 WRC plus, but you're gonna have to trade something for him. And am I gonna just sign Heimer Candelario? Or, like as you mentioned, just roll the dice on the Peraza LeMahieu thing and just see which one of the two is competent, right? Like that's fine with me. Thoughts on the Randy Rosa trade stuff? We kind of answered this already, but to kind of reiterate, no, it's not happening. It's not happening with the Yankees. I don't see it happening with the Yankees, and I'm scared of trading with the Rays, and Aiden is as well.
Also, I'm not. McMahon's AAV is $11.7 million. I'm not paying that for a 90 WRC plus. Sorry, just
again. Just go get Heimer Candelario if you're going to pay that type of money, right? Like, or just keep Peraza, right? Like, just play Peraza and LeMahieu. I'm not even a huge Peraza guy. I'm so on him, but is the gap like DJ LeMahieu was better than Ryan McMahon last year? So, right? Like, I think that matters a little bit. Grisham also has a mustache. This is probably the most analytical point here. He has a mustache. It is sick as shit.
The number one reason you trade for him. Look at
I agree. Thing. Honestly. If you squint a little bit, you might see Matt Carpenter. You squint just a little bit. Matt Carpenter, who is at Driveline, by the way, just saying. So all I'm saying is there's a certain player who's also a designated hitter who might be making more money than he should, who is not at Driveline. Whereas
take notes.
That's all I'm saying.
Stan better be taking notes.
That's all I'm saying. Would adding Soto and Yamamoto make the Yankees the second best AL team behind Texas? Hot take. I don't think Texas is the best team in the American League right now. And number two, I think the Yankees would be a top 2 team in the American League with Soto and Yamamoto. Think of it like this. Okay, I think the Astros are actually I genuinely do think the Astros are the top team in the American League because I think going into 2024, there are a lot of questions with the Rangers, like how good is Scherzer going to be? They currently do not have Jordan Montgomery. Evaldi, is he going to get healthier as he gets older, right? Like that's a concern. They did get, I think they're good. I'm not saying they're not sustainable. But looking a little bit here at projected standings, which these are not perfect, but I'm going to trust them more than my own intuition sometimes. The Braves, Rays, Astros, Jays, and Yankees are the top 5 teams. Or no, excuse me, the Rays, Astros, Blue Jays, and Yankees are the top 5 teams, and the Twins are right behind the Yankees. Top 5 in the American League for win percentage next year. In that order. I think the Rays are going to move Glasnow. I think the Rays are going to lose a Rosarena. I think that's going to take them down a notch, right? The Astros, I think, at that point become the best team in the American League. You throw Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Juan Soto on the Yankees, I'm taking them over. I'm taking them over the Blue Jays, as currently constructed. I'm taking them over the Rays, assuming they trade Glasnow and Rosarena. And yeah, I would put them as a top 2 team in the American League. I know that people are down on the Yankees and pessimistic on the Yankees, but this is still a team that won, 82 games last year? It's not like they won, 70, right? They're not that far off of making the playoffs again. And yeah, I mean, I think they're projected to win about 85 games. You add Soto, that probably adds about 5. What, you don't think that adds about 3, 4, maybe even 5 wins to projected records, considering what they have in left field? And then you add another starting pitcher. Yeah, I'm going to go as far, like that's probably a 7-win swing right there. You add 7 wins to your projected record. That's like a 91 win. I know I'm doing a lot of math right here. I know I'm sounding like a fucking nerd right now, but a 56.1% win percentage would be the top projected mark in the sport. Funnily enough, the gap between the Braves and everybody else is pretty comical. The Braves have a 60% win percentage projected, and the Rays are second at 55.8. That is a massive gap. That is pretty huge. But yeah, I think the Yankees would be a top 2 team in the American League with Juan Soto, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Aiden, what do you think about that take?
I want to say yes. I do think Texas is pretty good. I think they're a very good team, and you can't really count out the reigning champs. I'm not gonna put the Astros outside of the top 2, top 3 teams in the American League until they don't make the playoffs one year. I can see a case for the Orioles being better too, just because, they're young, they're hungry, they got a great core of players, and they got more prospects on the way. Jackson Holiday that kid's gonna be a stud. But yeah, so yeah, I'll make the case for the Yankees being a top 2 team, though, even though I think adding Soto and Yamamoto, I don't know, it puts them on the fringe for that. But making the case, here's the thing. Like you said, the Yankees won 82 games last year. It's not like they won 70 or 65 games. It's not like they're an awful team, okay? And you got to consider this. Like, they underachieved last year. Like, they did not hit their projections. I don't think there were a lot of people that expected the Yankees to play that poorly last year. Everyone really projected them to be at least a wild card team. And you got to consider they were without Judge for a long time. That's why they won 82 games. Like, if you have Judge on that team for the whole season, playing to his projections, playing on what he was on pace for, he was on pace to break his own record. Like, you can't sit here and tell me that if the Yankees didn't have Judge all year, they wouldn't have been an 87 win, 88 win team. So, like, if you add another top 3 hitter and then you add a pitcher with top 10, top 5 starting pitcher projections, I don't know. I think that makes them one of the best teams in the American League, but just cautiously optimistic wise, I think it makes them like a top 3, top 4 team in the American League.
Yeah, I would say I would also argue like some of the bounce backs that you can expect to hope, or at least the better word here I think would be hope. But I mean, come on, is Carlos Rodon really as bad as he was last year? Is Nestor Cortez like that's
No.
really? It's like there's no like I know that there's not actually no way. There is a conceivable way, but god damn, man, are they actually going to be as bad as they were?
You gotta take into like Stanton is not. I don't really see Stanton being that bad again. I don't know if he necessarily bounces back, but I still think he's going to be a guy who hits like at least 20 home runs. He hit 20 home runs this past year, even though he was absolutely awful. Of course, like Rodon, there's no way Rodon is as bad as he was last year. Cortez was pretty much hurt all year, so like you got to cut him some slack. You got Michael King as like a number 3, number 4 guy if he's staying with the team. Like this is a good team. you should also expect a step from Anthony Volpe. I'm sorry, like this kid is gonna hit like probably 250, 260 next year, playing elite defense. Like you can expect this team to pretty good next year. So actually, yeah, I do see a case for them being a top 2 team.
Yeah, and again, the preface was the American League. I don't think they're better than the Braves at all. Like I think the Braves are really good. I think the Phillies, as currently constructed, are better than the Yankees for sure. I think the Dodgers are better than the Yankees. I'm actually gonna buy some Cardinal stock. I know that they didn't. I'm not. I know that they're Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn isn't fucking moving anybody, but I do really like their offense. Their offense on paper is really damn good. Like if you look at their infield, it goes Arenado, Mason Wynn or Tommy Edman, Nolan Gorman, and Paul Goldschmidt. Wilson Contreras is the catcher. You could DH Jordan Walker, who hit but couldn't field. Tyler O'Neill in right field. Lars Nootbaar in center field. And I think their left fielder, oh my gosh, no way I'm blanking. Brendan Donovan is their left fielder. That's a damn good offense, man. Like, you talking about the pitching staff? That team could fucking rake. The Twins, I got to give props to the Twins as well. Mariners, we'll see how good they are next year. And Diamondbacks, I know they went to the World Series, so I have to give them credit, right? Even if I don't know if they're gonna be that good next year. But we're talking about the AL specifically here. And in the AL, I'm gonna take them to handle that. Oh, I saw what you just said. Mets and talks with Joey Wendell. I actually like this for the Mets. I think Joey Wendell is a solid player.
It's a great move for them.
I think really I like this. For them. He's a good defender. I know this. I shouldn't be saying like, oh, I fucking love Joey Wendell, but I actually kind of wanted Joey Wendell. At some point in my life. Not this year, but at some point.
Martino's did say that, like before that tweet, I do believe Martino said that they were like close to finishing another deal. So it looks like that's going to happen.
This is interesting. Florial is the fastest player on the team. He's a perfect fourth outfielder. Cabrera will start on people's days off. He is fast. That is his thing. It's just, is he gonna play? Like, is he a major leaguer? Like defensively and offensively, can he combine it together to be competent? And that's all I really need. I think he can. I don't know if I believe in it. But
honestly, yeah, I'm taking Oswaldo over Florial as the fourth outfielder anyway. Like I
need a guy who can play center. That is, I do need a guy who can play center.
Okay, that's true. But honestly, I've been a huge Oswaldo guy since he came up. I had a lot of narratives with him going into the season, and I really liked him. And I thought he was going to be like a Rookie of the Year candidate. But I don't think he's incapable of playing center field. We saw what he did in left and right field. Like he was a pretty solid defender. But yeah, I see speed wise taking Florial instead.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't think that's actually a poor take in terms of like fourth outfield conversations. Ryan Garcia ESM still needs to measure himself with measuring tape on a stream. This is true. I actually do need to do that. That is something I promised. Do I have measuring tape in my room? I have measuring tape in the house.
If we ever do it in person, we'll have to go like back to back.
Well, I got you. We'll handle it. Like yeah, we'll handle it, man. Is there any more questions here that you think stand out to like answer immediately? Let's see. What about Mike Yastrzemski in a trade? I would take Mike Yastrzemski in center field. I fucking like Mike Yastrzemski.
I like Mike Yastrzemski. I would also love a guy named Yastrzemski on the Yankees just to like be so annoying. The Red Sox had Jeter Downs. I went Mike Yastrzemski.
Yep. No, dude, Mike Yastrzemski I think would be sick with the Yankees. Like he's a guy who would get better in Yankee Stadium. Like he's the type of like he plays in such a dog shit ballpark for what he's trying to do, which is hit home runs.
Terrible lefties. It's terrible for lefties.
Yeah. Put up a 112 WRC plus last year. In center field, he had +2 defensive runs saved in his career. It's +10. Dude, this guy would be actually kind of. You know what, dude? Mike Yastrzemski would be fucking sick for the Yankees. And you know what? Do you see this happening? This is kind of we're gonna go crazy here. You get Yamamoto, you get Soto, you're kind of forced to trade Torres because of the money. You flip him for Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski has 2 years remaining. The Giants need infield hitting. They're probably gonna go out and get Bellinger. I could see it. I wouldn't love having to trade Gleyber, but like shit, dude. Given the options right now, are we fucking in the position to be like can beggars be choosers right now? Not really. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd trade Gleyber for Yastrzemski. I mean, I think from a player value standpoint, it would make sense, but I don't know. Any more questions can you see questions too? I think you can, right? Is there anything here that stands out? Pretty sure you can even click questions. So if you see anything that stands out for you, talked about the whole like Joey Wendell, Severino.
Yeah.
We talked about that
I
stuff.
mean, we have covered a lot. We've been on here for an hour and 40.
We have been. This is probably where we'll end it here. Just from a perspective of like from a time perspective. I really appreciate you guys swinging by. This was the most active live stream we've ever had.
125 viewers still. That's
Right.
great.
Yeah. We hit like the 180 mark at some point.
Yeah.
We wanna thank you guys so much. If you have not subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe. We'll be pumping out content like this pretty frequently. We trying to do more live streams. We do daily podcasts in the morning. I actually have my off-season blueprint coming out tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned. You guys can turn on the notification bell. You guys will be notified as to when we post next. On social media, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Obviously, you can check out our YouTube page as well. We have some content there. Our personal Twitter accounts are above our head. Trevor's asking when our next live stream is. Probably going to be the winter meetings are next week, so probably sometime next week. That there's not going to be much, I imagine, that happens from now to the winter meetings. Hopefully there's something big that happens that makes for more of an incentive to record on that. But you can bet that if Juan Soto's traded, that you will see a live stream soon. And at the very least, again, at some point next week. But again, we want to thank you guys so much for the support. If you guys enjoy this, again, like, subscribe, let us know, drop a comment, all that stuff, share, whatever you can. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We are, I think, 1,700 or 1,600 away. So we're right there. We're pretty close. And if you guys want to help us out there, that'd be great. Thank you guys so much for stopping by again. And we'll see you guys in the next live stream, everybody. Have a good one. Peace out. Have a good night.